Pro wrestling talk from the four corners of parts unknown. This is That Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. And there's only one way we could start this week's show. Hey, yo. Happy St. Patrick's Day, though, to everybody out there. We are recording this on St. Patrick's Day. Hey, is anyone else Irish besides me?
I just drink like I am.
No?
That would be me.
Okay.
I was Irish for one day when I went to a Conor McGregor fight, and I had the Irish flag, a Conor shirt, a Conor hat. I was Irish for one day.
Jason O. Marchuka for that.
Yeah,
for that
my
day.
mom is Irish. My dad was Italian, so I'm Irish-Italian.
So, Joe, you and me are flipped. I've got dad Irish, mom Italian. So that's funny. Okay.
And I'm majority Ukrainian, so fuck you, Russia.
Oh, my. Yes. Okay.
And my wife in the background just went, and I never stood a chance.
But yeah, I've seen a T-shirt that says we're all Irish today, so we'll go with that. In theory, we should all be wearing green. You can see that I am, but let's find out about the rest of the boys with What Are You Wearing?
What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
All right, we will start things off with my Irish-Italian friend, Joe.
I am not. I was wearing green earlier, but for the show, I don't have any green wrestling shirts. So in honor of Scott Hall, I got my outsider shirt.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
But I do have a shirt that says O'Talian, so that shows my Irish-Italian heritage right there.
That's good. That is good. That's fits it all together there. What do you got, Ukrainian Kevin?
Excuse me. Very nice shirt there, Joe. I went with what I'm going to consider best match of the week. I talked about getting this shirt for a long time. You can only see my head if you watch the video.
You finally bought it?
The Britt Baker role model. And the best part is, right before the show, a couple hours, playing with my son and my wife in our community playground. So I got to mingle with a lot of nice parents. So they can see a nice bloody Britt Baker face, which is almost a year to the date where she had this great match with Thunder Rosa. And then we're going to get into that rematch in not a cage, more Hell in the Cell, but I can't wait for that time.
That blood and guts match was 1 year ago today.
Yeah.
That's Thursday, the 17th.
Fantastic.
Pretty cool. Wrap it up, Jason.
So I assumed you would all be wearing Razor Ramon something. So I wanted to go different. So I couldn't really get into my storage, the warehouse, to find my outsider shirt or my Wolfpack shirt or my Razor Ramon shirts. So I went with an NWO Los Angeles chapter. This was from that pop-up that was here Super Bowl week.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's just LA. I mean, it's corny, but they, any faction, they just throw Los Angeles on it. But mainly it's just an NWO shirt, but I wanted my streak to continue. So we are 55 episodes in. I haven't repeated a shirt once. That's the best streak in the history of professional wrestling.
Jason
still got it.
Jason is the Cal Ripken of the wrestling t-shirt game. The streak lives another week.
55.
He's 172-0 when it comes to the streak.
Yes. So yeah, I went classic NWO. I don't have a Razor. I don't have a Scott Hall. I know I've looked at Razor ones, but yeah. So we gotta represent. So that's what we went with this week. So yeah, the big story, of course, Scott Hall passed away on Monday night at the age of 63. It was reported Sunday morning that he was on life support after suffering multiple heart attacks following blood clots that formed after having hip surgery. The outpouring of love and appreciation for Scott's career, I think, has been really special to see. You go online and everybody's just talking memories and favorite moments. And I'll share what I completely realized, like when you look back at his career. He was just so cool. You know how, like, when you're a little kid and you look up to someone and you're like, oh, I want to be like them. when you grow up? Well, for me, Scott Hall, starting with Razor Ramon, he was an untainable level of cool. All right. Me being this dorky teenager, I was realistic that this dude was the coolest motherfucker. And I would never be as cool as him. Just the look, the chains, the slick hair, everything. I was just like, my God, this guy is fucking incredible. So guys, I mean, let's just talk memories, man. Talk some favorite moments, anything you want with Scott. Jay, I'll let you start because you got to actually meet Scott. I think you've been the only one of us that had the chance to do that.
So when Razor Ramon, the vignette started, I'm like, whatever. I didn't really become a fan until he walked down the steps in that Canadian tuxedo on WCW Nitro. Really? Regarding meeting him, I met him twice. One was at an autograph signing out here. It was him and Kevin Nash. And when I got up to the table, I said, hey, are you guys going to do any podcasts anytime soon? I'd love to hear some stories from you guys. And Scott Hall's like, fuck podcasts. I was just like, oh, yeah, all right. So, I mean, I get it. He was the bad guy. And it was just like, all right, fine. So then years later, I met him at a StarCast in Las Vegas. And I got a picture with Hall, Nash, Waltman, and Eric Bischoff. It was an NWO photo op autograph signing. And there's just some two sweets as I'm like walking down the line, which was super cool. And the picture is probably one of the best photos I've ever taken. And so, I mean, he was what he was. And I didn't like when they used the alcoholism storylines and stuff like that. I didn't really enjoy that just because it was so well documented that he had a problem. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I was more Scott Hall than Razor. I'm glad he got into the Hall of Fame. I'm glad that he, I guess, mended fences if there were any to be mended. And man, that's my Scott Hall.
Do you remember Diamond Stud, since you were an old NWA, WCW guy?
I do, but not to the point where I cared.
Yeah. But I remember when Razor showed up, I was like, that's Diamond Stud. I remember that.
Without the porn star mustache.
And of course, he had a big run in the AWA with Kurt Hennig. So that was before any of that was done. He was like, I mean, you see pictures of Scott Hall in the AWA. That motherfucker is just jacked.
And he had like the poofy hair, the big porn stash. He was like a different person. And I'd go see those, like not when it happened, but like ESPN Classic would run those on midnights on Friday nights. And I'm like, my God, look at Scott Hall. He had such a long career when you go back to that. Too, talking about that line about your asking about the podcast, and he said, fuck no. Or fuck podcast. And I've heard stories, maybe you guys heard Bully Ray talk about it on Busted Open this week, how when they came back, the NWO came back into WWF, and Bully goes and introduces himself, and he's like, oh, I love that finisher 3D. It's great. He's like, oh, thanks, man. He goes, yeah, I can't wait to kick out of it. And Bully's like, the fuck you what so it sounds like he had this crazy dry sense of humor to just mess with people. All right, Kev, what do you got for Scott Hall thoughts and memories?
Yeah, Jay touched on the big nets. I'd say I really liked Razor, and if I really like a guy, I'll buy the retro shirt because I like buying those retro shirts on WWE Shop, And they brought out the one where, the purple one I wore to work earlier this week when he had the hip surgery, and then he got, the blood clot situation, and then a couple heart attacks. I originally started working from home on Monday. Then I had to go in the office, and I was like, oh, do I put on a work shirt? I'm like, nope. I'm wearing my Razor t-shirt I'm wearing my Razor socks. And just, no, truly, throughout the day, people are like, where's your work shirt? And I'm like, no, Scott Hall, he had a couple heart attacks. He's on life support, which kind of meant, like, I found out some of my coworkers are wrestling fans. Like, one guy was like, oh yeah, I remember watching the ladder match with him and Sean. And I'm just like, perfect, let's talk wrestling. Like, and that's just talking about his life was a really cool thing to talk about with coworkers. But the WCW Nitro stuff. And then, I'm glad he just got his life back together, because we saw, Mickey Rourke in the Wrestler. Like, I think everyone kind of teased, like, he is like, like a lot of the stars go through those tough times, and he got his life together with, DDP Yoga. And you saw Diamond Dallas Page, like, taking him in. Like, I think he lived with him for a little bit, like, and just got clean. So it was very nice. And he had his, relapses, but he always seemed to kick out of them, which was the nice thing. So in the ring, loved him as Razor, loved him as Scott Hall. Outside of the ring, I'm glad he kind of fought those demons a little bit too young, because what was he, 62, 64?
63, right in the middle there.
Right in the middle. Like, this is the thing when I told Laura, because she's like, what are you feeling? I'm like, I'm crushed. These are like guys that we started watching, and I feel like it's going to be more and more throughout the years of, like, who we grew up on are going to start, passing, because they just took such a toll on their body. And
well, what? This is the first death in our era.
Yeah.
Like, of course, the older guys, and we've had some random deaths and stuff, but this is the first one that's, kind of like our era. And Joe and Kevin, you had mentioned, your shirt to work. Joe actually wore a yellow vest with the chest hair out when he went to work this week in tribute. So
Scared the kids.
very cool of you guys to do that. Very cool.
And you called everyone Chico.
Mm-hmm. I kept throwing toothpicks at children. It was I got reprimanded, and I was like,
I'm sure it got a pass when you explain what the whole purpose of it was. All right, Joe, what you have for favorite moments, memories?
Well, I do got Razor right behind me right here, looking over my shoulder. I got the pop vinyl behind me of Razor Ramon, but I was in high school. I was sort of a wrestling fan. I'd watch it occasionally, but I liked Razor Ramon because he always faced Shawn Michaels, and he was like really the only one I really liked. And I just remember it started when I was in Spanish class, and they were like, "You get your Spanish name."
Yes.
And they went in alphabetical order, and I was like the fourth Joe in class, and I didn't want to be Jose y Cuatro. So I was like, cool. Screw it, Ramon. That was my Spanish name for the year, and I was just like, talking like Razor Ramon throughout Spanish just to be an annoying high school kid.
Friend of the podcast, Jason Jones, put that on Twitter whenever he passed. He goes, "I was Ramon in Spanish class because of Razor." So
yeah, same here.
So cool. Yeah.
So and I loved him more in WCW. I'm on the same boat with Jason. I was actually at World War III when he won it. So that was like really his main singles highlight, because he was always like tag team, it seemed like, in WCW. Never had the championship, but we know why. There were too many demons to trust him with it, realistically. And it was he didn't need it. He was one of those guys that was just so, like you said, Brian, he was just so cool that no matter what he did, he just was cool at everything. And later on, we knew about his story, but then as a teacher now, the only time I'm ever allowed to wear a wrestling shirt to school is when it's Halloween, because all the teachers are supposed to dress up. Well, I don't dress up as like cheesy things that the kids will know. I usually wear an NWO shirt. I put the white bandana on and tie it like there, put a toothpick in my mouth, put one behind my ear. And my wife always goes, "The kids aren't going to know who you are." And I'm like, "I don't care." And
them kids.
And the kids would be like, they'd be like, "Who are you supposed to be?" I'm like, "Okay, fine. I'll give you a clue." "Hey, yo." They don't have a clue, but it's like, the dads would go.
Worst clue ever.
I know it was, because I don't care. I don't care. They wouldn't know. But the thing is, the parents would always be there, and the dads would be like, "Hey, it's Scott Hall." Some would be taking pictures, like moms would be taking pictures going like, "Who's this guy supposed to be?" And they just send a picture back of Scott Hall. So he did, like, our generation, he was bigger than, like, after this week. It really hurts more because, like you said, Jason, Kevin, Brian, it's, while we have had wrestlers pass on, like Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, untimely death.
Guerrero,
it's Eddie Guerrero. This one seems like it's like he kicked out because he fought his demons. He had his moment. It kind of reminds me of the Ultimate Warrior too, but not the next night.
And there's just like it's that bond of like the Click and the NWO. That's the first person of that group
the curtain call,
on.
like what he
did. Call.
What
yes.
he did for this business is like there's some way more positives than negatives. The couple negatives that like the old timers will say was the curtain call. It broke kayfabe. Bad guys aren't supposed to be cheered. Things like that. But if you're not evolving, if you're not changing for the better, you're stuck in the past, and there's no growth in that mindset.
Yeah. Somebody had posted on Twitter, and I tried to go back and find it, and I couldn't find it, but it was the one thing that like kind of got me a little bit, that I was like, oh damn. But somebody did the figurines of the curtain call with like the blue. But yeah, did you see that? And I went tried back and find it, but even I was like, oh, I don't know what it was about that, but I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But like I said, yeah, he was just it was all the little things. The walk, the little like surfer walk, the me pose.
Oh,
the fingers of being like all scared, like
I'm so scared. The toothpick, like you said. Yeah, love that, Kev.
What about helping out others too? Like all the stories you hear about, he gave Sting the idea for the crow.
Yes.
And he didn't need the credit for it. It comes out later in life. What he did for Sean Waltman. He was a lightning kid. He was a jobber. And what does Razor do?
Yeah.
Puts him over.
He beat Razor Ramon.
He put over Jericho.
Bobby yelling it. Yep. Yeah. And, I go back, I replayed the Canadian tuxedo moment, as we say. And like, if that doesn't happen, I tried to really think big about this. I'm like, if that doesn't happen, am I a wrestling fan today? Because that was the shockingness moment of everything. Like, oh my God, the WWF guys are coming to WCW to start a war. This is a real war, Jason, right? Not like the NXT AEW thing that we like to go back and forth on. But yeah, it was just so much. Even some other little things I wrote down. Like, arguably, he took the best stunner ever at Mania 18. Like, who does that, right? Like that. He tased Goldberg. That ended the streak. He tased Goldberg and the Nash powerbombed him. Like he was part of so many moments, and just what a legacy when I had to go back and think about it. And I love to, of course, everybody's been playing the Hall of Fame speech and the bad times don't last, bad guys do. And I just caught how like he looked right in the camera for that. He's such like a showman. Like he goes, bad guys do. And it's like, he's looking right at you when he says that. Just
all right. Now hold on here.
Yes, sir.
Don't they all look in the camera when they're giving their speech?
Well, if you watch that clip, you can see he's like addressing the room. Like hard work pays off, dreams come true, and you'd see he'll just focus for that last line. You'll see that,
like you just did.
Like I did. Yeah. Nice. So, I mean, what can you say? Yeah, rest in peace, Scott Hall. What a legacy, and certainly was sad news to hear about on Monday night that he had passed on.
We all drinking?
Sure.
I'm not going to pour any out, but I'll cheers you guys to a good career.
I know Hogan meant well. Did you guys see Hogan at the karaoke talk about Scott Hall? Did you see that video?
I didn't want to watch it because I was just afraid of what it was going to be.
So it wasn't inherently bad. He talked about how like Scott made Hulk cool again. He made Hollywood cool. And
right.
He like, I love you. You're my brother. I'm going to miss you. All this. But he also was saying like, things like raise your glass. Like, yeah, guys, if Scott was here, he'd be drinking with us. And in my head, I'm like, I'm like, not so much. Like, maybe 10 years ago, that would have been the case. I don't know. I know, again, I know he meant well and stuff like that, but I was like, Hulk, better luck next time. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. As difficult as that is to do a segue. In other sad news, but at least hopeful news, Big E broke his neck on SmackDown on Friday. Whoa. I was not
Yeah.
watching this live.
No.
He was outside in the match. It was him and Kofi against Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and Holland attempts to do like an overhead suplex thing, drops Big E right on his head. He gets stretchered out. Later that night, though, he posts a video from the hospital saying, he can move his fingers, move his toes, but his neck is broken. He says, turns out he doesn't need surgery. I've read that in theory, if he heals okay, best case scenario, he could be back in 3 months, but obviously, long way to go to see if he'll even wrestle again. Guys, what your reaction? You saw that, the fallout, and just, I mean, how positive of a guy is Big E, right? Like, what this
The
guy
power of positivity.
Living the gimmick.
lives the gimmick, right?
So I didn't watch it live, and I saw that it happened, and I was like, do I want to watch the video? I was at a bachelor party, came from the bar, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna watch it. Next morning I watched it, and I only watched it once. That's all I wanted to watch. Because like the where they get hurt, kind of cringy moments, I don't like it. Or just seeing where he's filmed the videos, like I can move my fingers, and he's just 100% smiles, zoomed in right on his face, right? You see the neck brace, and he's moving his fingers, and he's just giving everyone the reassurance at home, like. The dude is you can tell people look up to him in the locker room, and he wants people to look up to him, at home still. I hope he recovers 100%. If he wrestles again, perfect. I think he will, because he's a genetic freak. Like, he is an athlete, to say it plain out.
And usually doctors will say, like, because he was so strong and obviously has like huge neck muscles, that probably protected him from being paralyzed.
Probably worked out great that he didn't really have a neck. So because he's so muscular.
It's just a beef stick.
It's just an unfortunate probably for Ridge, because he'd probably be looked at as dangerous now.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it was a dangerous move. I think he's so big to flip by, and it sucks that it's outside, but in all positivity, no pun intended, I'm glad that he's okay.
Yeah. Well, and
I just hope this doesn't derail his WrestleMania 40 push that I wanted months ago on this program. Ridge Holland was one of my ones to watch.
Yeah,
so.
you are a Ridge fan, and I've liked what I've seen too, and yeah, you kind of hope. I mean, I read he went to the hospital that night too. Mistakes happen, right? But
it's all part of the business.
Yeah, that's a tough spot, right? Joe, any other?
I was watching it live.
You did see it live. Okay.
Yeah, I did see it live, and it's it reminded me of Madcap Moss, but he had the
Saudi.
He was fortunate enough to be in the ring where there was more give than the floor. It was, in my opinion, it was a move that didn't need to be done.
Did you, watching it live, did you catch like right away, like, ooh, that didn't look good? Or
yes.
Were you kind of like half watching? Okay.
No, it's like I did what we all do when we see something like that. I did the and my wife was like, I hope he's okay. And I'm like, I don't, and we never saw him again. So then at the end of SmackDown, when he sends out that tweet, I'm like, oh, he wasn't okay. Yeah. And then they showed the Austin Kevin Owens video package, and then they came back from commercial and showed it again. I feel like they showed the package because they needed to kill the time so they could stretch him out. So it's something that's a little bit not noticeable, but since Brian, you're such a stickler to the production, and I always notice camera shots now, I was focused on that. I'm like, maybe he's not okay, because they showed that going to commercial and coming back, they showed the exact same video package.
Yeah. And it's really nice to see when he gave the update of, I'm doing good, don't worry about me. It's nice to see on Twitter, like, the universal love that people have for Big E, whether you're in AEW or just an AEW fan and not a WWE fan, people love Big E. I said it when he won the championship, that like he united wrestling Twitter, which was like an impossibility, that everybody was like, yay, Big E, you won. So, he gave a tweet out saying, like, thank you. I'm just so overwhelmed with all the responses. So, prayers to Big E, hopefully quick recovery. Hopefully he can continue his career in the near future. Prior to that match, prior to that match, you know where I'm going with this. All right, Sheamus and
Since
Ridge.
I was watching live.
Yes, you were. Yeah. They were being interviewed. They were holding sledgehammers. And they were asked, like, oh, you're going to do that damage to the New Day? Is that what you got those? And they went, no, we've got a friend, and he's even more dangerous. And Sheamus says, some of us may know him by a different name, but for him, he's known as Butch. I admittedly had a few drinks in me, and I let out my outrage on Twitter, which is never a good idea. But I was upset. Pete,
HR was not happy.
no, they were not. I was a train wreck heading on the track. Pete, even on Twitter, seemed a bit confused. If you looked at Pete Dunne's Twitter, he put an introduction and wrote Butch, probably. Like, okay. Guys, I mean, we've gone over this, so it's, I don't know. I hate it. I get it, but I hate it, but I hate it, but I get it. Jay,
I don't get it, and I hate it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I am tired of the idiots online and the outrage.
So you're well, that's all for this week's show. I guess I'm out of here. Thanks, bro.
Now, hear me out. Now, it was
drunk.
a shock. Believe me, when I realized what it was all about last week, the text, because I was at Disneyland. I didn't watch it at all. Yeah. And, I was like, all right, whatever. I was very surprised. But then seeing online and what, the Twitter experts are all saying, it's like, shut up. I'm going to say a couple names. Bray Wyatt, John Cena, Batista, Roman Reigns, all had different names in developmental. And I think they're doing okay. So Butch, Pete Dunne, Butch Dunne, whatever, it's not that big a deal. Don't freak out over it. There's no reason to. Don't be like Brian. Don't be like Kevin. It's going to be okay.
The difference between that, though, in Ohio Valley, right, where Cena was at prior, wasn't televised. We didn't see him
only locally.
That's fair.
It was televised locally.
That's the only difference. We know him because we've seen him for how many years has he been in NXT? That's the only reason.
They changed Leviathan's name to Deacon Batista.
He'll change the name.
I'm getting on AOL right now.
What was he? Leviathan?
Leviathan.
Yeah. Prototype to John Cena. What kind of stupid wiener name is that?
if I only lived in
Rolls off the
Kentucky a few more years before that. Dang.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going back in time right now to Friday, March 11th, 8:13 p.m. Text to the boys from me. Butch, ? That's all it said. No spoilers because of the time zone difference. I was like, Butch, ?
Yeah.
Brian, 8:15 p.m. What happened? I'm out. Not watching. Brian, 8:17 p.m. Never mind. I see it for F's sake. And then I go, wait and see, ? Give it a chance, ? I was speaking for you. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
That was at 8:26. 8:29. Brian, F. And then finally, Jason, no way. Holy crap. I just read what happened. 8:50 p.m. So that was all in a matter of 30 minutes. All because of the name Butch.
Yeah.
I was more offended by what he was wearing. He looks stupid with that stupid hat and the man bun.
Yeah, so he's like extra.
He reminded me of the old Looney Tunes cartoons. The little bulldog with the boxer hat, and he was like, "Oh, come on, Pete, come on, you can do it, you can do it." It's like, you're the best, you're the strongest, and it's like, oh, so annoying. I don't like it, and it's not because of the name. I don't like it because he looks stupid.
So yeah, okay, that's a little part of
it. I didn't go on Twitter about it. I kept it just for Brian between here.
I threw out expletives. I threw out stop insulting my intelligence. I don't like how because of that, it makes me feel as a fan of NXT that what I was watching apparently wasn't good enough because, what you just did for his last X amount of years, we got to switch that up here on the big show. So why am I investing my time and my, just energy and my appeal of this NXT brand? Well, it's just going to be flipped anyway when they go to the big stage. So there's one. On the other side, I will say and we'll see what happens after this Big E fallout, but a Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Butch, Pete Dunne stable, that could be really cool. Outfits aside, all three of those guys are really impressive and they could do some good stuff. So I'm hopeful in that sense that just their ability will, at least in Pete Dunne's, Butch's case, overcome
Gunther.
the shortcomings. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I don't know. So that's where that stands. We shall see. All right, let's move on to Monday Night Raw. I will say right now, and I think Joe, you said this to me in our text as well. Kevin Owens is the MVP of Monday Night Raw. He is on fire right now. I'm gonna go over what he did on Monday. He opened the show, and first off, he was clearly affected by the news of Razor Ramon passing away. You can tell that right away. He starts off with "Hey yo," he does his promo on Austin. He stuns the cameraman. Later on, he does a backstage segment with Seth talking about coming up with a Mania plan. Then later on, when Seth reveals his plan, he comes out to the ring to talk about that. Which, by the way, I wouldn't mind seeing a talk show called Freakin Speakin, right?
I know.
You guys tell me that? Freakin Speakin. I'm cool with that. That he did a backstage with Sonya Deville, and then he entered the ring for the main event. He had to wait 15 minutes before his match actually started with Seth Rollins. He had to sit there through video packages and commercials and Seth's entrance.
Insane.
Yeah, Kev was so excited. He's like, 30-minute main event for
I know.
Rollins and
I
KO.
know, you were so
awesome.
happy.
And
Hey,
then,
you weren't on it,
as-
so we had our own chat, and I'm like,
right.
30-minute main. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, 16-minute main.
Right. Cue commercials and the video package for what set this up 2 hours earlier, which I texted like Raw's so long they have to do a video recap of what happened earlier in the show because we don't even remember. That's how long it's been. So anyway, I just want to give props to KO. That's a lot in a 3
You forgot his best part of the entire show is when he went to Seth Rollins and said, "Come on, you're Seth freaking Rollins. They got to put you in WrestleMania. You beat Triple H. You beat Brock Lesnar. You did the ultimate cash in. You lost to me, but it's okay."
yeah, that was good. He just kept rolling off the tongue with that. So we talked last week about the likelihood of Cody showing up to set up him for Seth at Mania. Raw was in Jacksonville. KO proceeds to beat Seth because they had that stipulation of, if I win, it's going to be freaking Speakin with Steve Austin. So I'm thinking, here comes Cody. And the Raw credit graphic comes up. And I gasp. I'm like, oh, and they go off the air. No Cody Rhodes. Jay, 52% is still alive.
Say my name.
What?
Okay, Destiny's Child.
So there were some Easter eggs if you want to really read into it, where Graves was like, Seth's Mania dreams have been dashed. I think Jimmy,
that shit's getting old.
They're trolling. They're trolling.
His dream turned into a nightmare. So that's what actually, when you talk about this shit's getting old, that's actually where I wanted to take this. Is the buzz worn off for you?
Is
it wearing off?
It's gone. Okay. I said all along, no one's going to believe he can beat Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. So he's going to go in being a mid-card, upper mid-card, whatever. But it's Cody Rhodes. It's not Bray Wyatt coming back. It's not even Sting showing up at AEW when nobody saw that coming.
Right.
It doesn't fit. This is not Scott Hall showing up on Nitro.
Hey, yo.
Well, that is a epic moment type situation. I don't even think anything could top
But there
that.
are people somewhere that think this Cody situation is monumental.
then
And it's not.
those people are on drugs. Those people are smoking meth, because every week that Cody didn't show up, the excitement goes down. If he shows up next Monday, I'll still be pumped. But like, I mean, I was on edge of my seat this week just because I'm like, ooh, there's that 30 minutes. And then, the time went down. And I'm like, and then Brian, you said the graphic in the lower right-hand corner, that graphic of doom, nothing's gonna pop up after that. And that's, that sucks. I'm like,
well, no, they've swerved sometimes with the signature.
NXT especially, yeah.
I
thought maybe, but
it's just next week. It's like a do or die type situation. It has to be.
Well, I'll say first off, yeah. I mean, the crowd was ready. I think during the first Seth backstage thing, where like, have you thought about WrestleMania? You could hear the crowd, Cody.
Some people think that was piped in.
I heard that too. I didn't think it was, but I heard.
I'm so bad at telling what's real and what's not. I just don't care.
And sometimes, like they're clearly.
So, did you really think they were chanting for Gilbert when he came out back in the 90s?
Oh, I really didn't know then.
I love.
No.
I love that.
No, I think I was like just more annoyed with the simple fact that it's been going on too long. And the only one that made sense was, hate to agree with Jason again, was him being Miz's tag team partner. Those two have a history, and Cody has a history against Ray. So that would have made more sense. Instead, we're fabricating that he's on the same level as Seth Rollins. He's not. He's on the same level as The Miz and Rey Mysterio, where he's at now. That's where it should have happened.
Yeah, that's not a bad place to be.
You're just annoyed that I am one step closer to being right.
You are. And I mean, I've seen some online chatter that people are thinking it's not going to happen until Mania, where it's going to be like Seth comes out and says, bah, 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 or maybe they'll do like when the Hardys showed up a couple years ago, like unannounced, or John Cena in the crowd and then ended up fighting the Undertaker. Like maybe it'll be something like that.
That's what I see happening. Is Seth's going to be in the crowd.
Yeah, like that's cool. That's fine. But I mean, I was excited. I was excited for Monday's Raw, thinking we're going to get a cool moment of Cody showing up. And when that graphic hit, I went, you got to be kidding me. And yeah, Jay, 52% lives for another week.
So obviously you guys are 3 hours ahead of me, and I do my best to stay offline just so I don't get spoiled or anything. I was on Twitter. I was looking at something for basketball or something, and I see that Stardust is trending, and I'm like, oh, no way. And then I started watching, and I was so tired. I went to bed at 10, so I didn't even see the last hour. But then the next morning I saw that he wasn't there, and I was like, okay.
Yep. No show in Jacksonville. So
Joe is pissed off a little more today because I am almost right.
Well, I'm the most pissed off, but
we'll know soon.
I know the consequences of you winning this. So.
I don't know why you think I'm the most pissed off. I only said 70-30. These two Yahoos said 99.
I was like 95. Yeah.
I said 99. So if actually he shows up, y'all fucked.
If he doesn't, you three are all fucked. I will never.
But I'm only 30%. These two are
right. You're partially.
So you're just the tip. Fuck.
Yeah.
Got it.
Wow.
That's what she said. So yeah, the Cody saga continues. It is what it is. The other thing on Raw I want to touch on, and we didn't talk about this the previous week, but this version of Edge. All right. First off, the big stuff from Monday. You think you know me? You never did. And Edge has a new theme song. And it's Alter Bridge. It's called Other Side, and I love it. But the whole thing, guys, he's got the suit. He's saying big vocabulary words. He's got a blue light. How do we feel about this Edge? It's a little different for what we've gotten from him, even from back in the Rated R days.
Chris Jericho did it first.
Thank you.
I was thinking that.
And that whole like Shawn Michaels feud with the suits, and that's where you're thinking too.
I feel like he needed it.
I do too.
I don't like losing the original theme, but it's kind of like what we said in via text. It's the whole Triple H when he was like, time to play the game. And then he evolved as a character to King of Kings and ended up being Motorhead both times. So the only thing I don't like about it is he's using it's like the Undertaker lights. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Like you don't need the lights. You can talk slowly. You can wear your suits. You can pay homage to Jericho, who changed his persona again this week.
We'll touch on that. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe Ed should come out with no music.
Ziggler did it.
Yeah, but that was
he started off with
Vincent
that.
did it.
Ziggler was trying to, he was doing everybody else.
I forgot about that.
He couldn't
Yeah,
get
and then
over,
he came, and it was when Bobby Roode came up to SmackDown and said, "You're nothing but a theme song," and now they're the Dirty Dogs.
They're so dirty.
I love
NXT. Yeah,
I love the theme though.
Kevin, you are a man of multiple Edge koozies, so
Yeah.
you have a vested interest in this. The song, the gimmick, the persona. What's your headspace on that?
It was. I never heard that song before ever.
Yeah,
right?
I hadn't either.
So
I like those.
But
songs,
right when you hear Miles Kennedy's voice, it's very distinguishable. So and then the guitars are dun, 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 dun. Like it almost seemed like the breakdown of the guitar was very cool because they kind of slowed it down a little bit, kind of dark sounding until Miles starts singing. But Joe, you mentioned a couple weeks ago, you're like, we've seen this from Edge before. He turns heel at WrestleMania. So then it's like, you kind of get a different type of heel now. So it's cool. I enjoy the music, and I'm a big fan of the theme music. You hit me with a good theme, I'm all in. But like when it went dark and then you heard Edge's voice, you're like, whoa, what is this? And then you hear the music and then he slow walks, and it's just like, okay, me a likey. But we'll see. We'll see how it continues. I think he's doing a good job in the ring. His promos are good so far. Just a little, how can I put it? It's a little tweak of a heel for him. So I want to see him continue to grow on that versus being just kind of like a regurgitation, right, of what other people did before. I want him to make it his own. And it is hard in pro wrestling to make something your own. So we'll see. We'll see what he does.
Yeah, I like the new change. It's definitely Jericho threads. That's exactly what I thought of too. And thumbs up to the new theme song. I've been playing it pretty much nonstop for that. I think AJ comes back next week, so that feud's gonna keep on rolling to WrestleMania. All right, so we'll talk about AEW now. We got a new women's champ, Thunder Rosa. I liked how they made it a big deal. I like the mariachi band, the full face paint. They were in essentially her hometown. The steel cage, the thumbtacks. What'd you guys think of the match? I'll say I wasn't feeling it for the first half. I don't know what it was, but I think maybe when it got to that point of the chairs kind of stacked up, that Britt took that pretty nasty bump where she just stayed on the chairs. I was like, oh yeah. No. I don't know. There's something that I think their technical level isn't as high as it should be, but they go for it for brutality's sake. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be on the level of Charlotte and Sasha, Bailey, Becky. They're just not. And that's okay, because in 5 years, they probably will be at the WWE. The match was awesome. I loved everything about it. I mean, I really feel like, though, this is just an excuse for Britt to go film some episodes of Animal Kingdom on TNT. That's probably why they lost the belt, and then she'll come back when she's done shooting. So
she won't take it to the show like Cody with.
Maybe she'll be the new host on the Go Big Show.
Right.
Be the AEW rep.
There's an opening, I hear.
It's just the big thing I'm curious is what happens next. Keep Britt Baker away from Jade as long as possible. Don't go there yet. Don't, because I don't think it's. I hope that's not. I hope they don't do that. Let them feed the rest. Let her start at the bottom again. Maybe she becomes humble for losing and says, "I'll start at the back of the line," and then runs through all the the women's division to get back to a title shot.
I want to see her ditch Jamie and Rebel. This is the time.
Okay.
I want to see. Because honestly, those two bozos. Britt's so, to such a high level. And then when you see Rebel do something, you're just like, go away. Yeah. And then Jamie.
You obviously don't follow her on Instagram. You wouldn't be telling her to go away, especially knowing you and the way you think.
I'll be back. I'll be right back.
Ah.
I just feel like Britt is phenomenal in the ring, right? You don't need two lower level goons I don't know. I just feel that let your in-ring skills and she's great on the mic. Do your talking like Thunder Rosa, badass. So little in that match. I loved it. I think I loved it more because I thought the rest of Dynamite was not very good at all. I thought it was blah most of the events. So when we got and they kept on saying cage match, steel cage match, and then it was like it came down when I mentioned Hell in the Cell earlier. It was kind of like a mini Hell in the Cell. Like I loved it. I hope that's their thing. Call it a cage match every time in the future.
Well, that is their cage. Yeah, their cage goes to the floor.
Yeah, I loved it, but I loved the thumbtack, the steel, the chairs piled up, and then the spot off the ropes. I thought was tough. Those two women have great chemistry, fantastic chemistry.
The real MVP, the real MVP of that match was Aubrey Edwards. She counted 3 in the thumbtacks.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's awesome.
That's a tough one, right?
Yeah, she tweeted out a picture of it. Don't count on thumbtacks, and it was all the marks on her arm.
Pinholes.
But congratulations for her. Hopefully she's not in transition. I don't want to see Britt versus Jade at all, Jay. Agree with you 100%. Just because, God forbid, if we saw Jade beat Britt, right, to keep the streak going. But Jade has continued to get a little bit better. Not a lot. Little bit better. Let her run through the cans. Bring up more people and just let her build that streak. Get more. No, Daniel Bryanson doing wonders. Let him keep building her. I just don't want to see those two go against each other right now. That is a no-win situation.
Yeah, Jade seems to be pushing that open challenge thing. So we'll see if it's no names or maybe Athena, Tony Storm, whoever, somebody maybe new coming.
Tony Storm is an OnlyFans now.
Yeah, so I hear. Anybody want to go in on that with me? What's going on? We'll talk about that off the air.
No, I'm good.
Okay. The Jericho Appreciation Society. So Jericho comes out, but he looks great, by the way. He has, slimmed down. He looks
WWE
fantastic.
shape.
Yeah, that's not what that is. He looks good, man. No, but yeah, they're really pushing the, we're sports entertainers.
Love it.
When they do that, everybody goes, boo. Yeah, we have
he trademarked it. He trademarked it, right?
He's trying to.
I think he was trying to. Yeah.
I just love that 5 minutes earlier, all the idiots in Texas were singing his song, and then he says the word sports entertainer, and it's like he set their cat on fire.
Yeah, he has a decision to make with that song. I think
it's got to go away.
Kind of similar to Edge, right? Like you can't be playing the fun, on this day, right? So
get it out of there.
Yeah. So Joe, you like it? You're a big Jericho guy.
I love it. It's another reincarnate. It's another repackaging of Jericho. He always does it well. The thing that I thought was the funniest, and he knows he's doing it. We, as sports entertainers, we use our real names. Chris Jericho is not his real name.
I thought about that.
That was
too.
like the best. And I talked to my old best friend Kevin about these two guys.
That's good.
Another Kevin Owens reference right there.
That's it.
So
that's actually a real story, because I remember I listened to that podcast with Everrise, and it was Kevin Owens that made the connect.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yep.
How cool. Old friends looking out for each other.
Old best friends.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So yeah, thumbs up. That was definitely a good move for Jericho Appreciation Society.
Hey, can I bring up one thing that I'm surprised wasn't on the rundown?
Okay, sure.
Why is Charmel going to the Hall of Fame?
Oh fuck!
When
Because
Cyndi
we-
Lauper's not in there, when
we don't
Miss
want to give
Elizabeth
any
isn't
more
in there, when Victoria's not in
Yeah.
there.
Weird. It's weird.
I mean, come on.
Texas because she's from Texas.
No.
Yeah.
I-
mean,
I'm
that's-
her
just throwing it out
Kevin's
there.
right.
Because her
Yes.
husband's from Texas.
Right.
Yes.
Booker
And her husband's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's trash though.
Okay,
It's-
I'm glad I'm
it's-
not the only one there.
I look at
mean-
it like this. It's everyone
Stacey
has that.
Keebler's not in there.
Everyone has that benchmark of well, Coco Beware's in the Hall of Fame, so everyone should be in. Now they have the female version because Charmel
Yeah.
did nothing.
Yeah.
She was a Nitro girl.
She was a night. I had to have that said to me that I was like, oh yeah, she was. Like I forgot
And-
about
So-
that.
So was
So since-
Kimberly, and she
Yeah,
did
so I was
more
just
for the
gonna say,
business.
So Kimberly's in. That goes sweet. And the
Kimberly,
redhead that was
wow.
very. But like, I
Is that
think
the
I texted
who
you guys-
did Shawn Michaels marry? Whisper,
Fire. I don't know. I have no idea.
Willow,
Willow.
Laser.
Laser.
Wait, no, those were American
Pyro and
Gladiators.
Gyro.
Sorry.
I
just-
just feel like it's getting cheapened.
No, I mean,
this
yeah,
year.
it's
This one
is
should
what
have
it
just,
is.
well, we all
Whatever.
know what I thought this year's.
Are they
class should
trying to
have been.
make it as bad as possible and just have all the focus be on the Undertaker? Except for
I think
Vader.
if you put bad people in, it's going to make it look worse. It's not going to make him look better.
Well, rumored is Steiner's next, right?
that's a rumor.
We've all read that.
floating
That'd be,
around.
But they have
that'd be
a-
fantastic. I
But
take it.
I read too, they're trying to come up with a contingency plan in case Scott says no.
right.
and it'll
Yeah,
just be Rick.
There is that,
It'll be- yeah.
which would be bad. You got to have them both in. I've heard Sid is rumored too.
Oh,
Well
that'd be-
deserved.
Right.
Very.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Where's Cyndi Lauper? Where's
Yeah.
Miss
Where's Cyndi
Elizabeth?
Lauper?
Where's Victoria? Where's Stacy Keebler?
Mickey James.
Yeah.
She'll get in
Uh,
next
well,
year.
yeah.
Yes.
But she's always going to be. She was in after Charmel.
Where's AJ Lee?
well, we know where she is. She's jogging by you, right? Wasn't that what happened a week ago?
Yeah, it's true, but
She jogged by you. That's where she is.
You know what? You might as well put Natalia in there right now while she's on the active roster.
I saw somebody suggest that. I don't remember who it was. Like,
No
but she's
one.
done so much. She's been around forever.
What
Yeah,
about Vicky?
she's a,
AEW talent. But
I
yeah,
know, but still.
completely deserves it. Yeah, I'd be fine. With
where's Limp Bizkit? Where's Flo Rida?
that. give it
Come on.
time. Give it
Come
time.
Yeah,
on.
Flo Rida did like what 7
songs in a row.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
mean, Christ, put Bad Bunny in at this point.
Where's
That-
the Weekend? Where's the
That's-
Miller Lite Catfight Girls? Come on.
Yes, come on.
Wait, guys, are you doing lead-ins for me or are you doing lead-ins for me? We are going into this week's 5 count, which is
Oh,
top
okay.
5 WrestleMania celebrities.
That Wrestling Podcast presents the 5 Count.
Yeah, we went with a lighter topic with this week's 5 count. When early in the week I realized we're talking about Scott Hall, Big E, and Butch. I was like, God, we need something just light and fun. So WrestleMania has always been known for the involvement of celebrities, and this year's no exception. We've got Jake Paul. We've got Johnny Knoxville. It's probably somebody else I'm forgetting, I'm sure. So we decided to do our 5 favorite WrestleMania celebrities. Who would like to go first?
I will.
I'll go first. Or Joe can go first.
Joby.
All right, I'll go first. I'm gonna go quick on this one since everyone has. Hopefully, we all have something different. Number 5, Shaq in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Him and Big Show finally face to face, so it's a WrestleMania moment. Number 4, I doubt it's going to be on anyone's list, but I still love it. Morton Downey Jr. at WrestleMania
Oh, it's
5
fantastic.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it was Piper's return. And don't blow the smoke in my face. And then he
Oh,
hit him with
yeah.
a fire extinguisher. Number 3, Lawrence Taylor and the rest of the NFL guys at ringside
Oh,
for 2 reasons. 1, it was the main event. And number 2, Detroit Lion Chris Spielman was at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Look at that. They made it to the Super Bowl of wrestling after
Yes,
all.
they did. They can't make it to the real Super Bowl, but Chris Spielman, while he was on the Lions, was in LT's corner.
That's awesome.
Number 2, because it was repeated, Pete Rose.
Sure.
He was getting he turned Kane face, and then 5 seconds later immediately turned back to heel for Kane. So that was the quickest Kane face heel turn ever. And number 1, same WrestleMania 14, Mike Tyson changed the Attitude Era as we know it.
Great list.
And
a lot
that's
of
my
fun
5
ones
count.
on there. Yeah. Fun ones, some classics, some fun ones. Nicely done. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, my 5 and 4, almost a tie. Just involvement, both beautiful women, Pam Anderson and Jenny McCarthy. They're both valets.
Yeah. I'll
WrestleMania 11. This was the time where it was like, we had guest ring announcers, like in that type of thing. And at that point, they were both hot babes. Jenny McCarthy walking out with Shawn, Pam Anderson walking out with Diesel. Tied 5-4. So both of them are 4.5s. Number 3, I was at WrestleMania 31 when The Rock walked out. Video camera pan. You see Rousey right there in the crowd, moment. And all of her, you see all of her fellow MMA teammates right there. It was awesome. And then the ring, you saw her throw judo throw Triple H. It was a fantastic moment. It was very cool. The crowd was electric, and I was there, and it was really cool. WrestleMania 37. Won't go into too much detail, but Bad Bunny, just even the lead up, he made Damian Priest so much better on the mic, so much better. Like just the perception of me even liking him, and he was phenomenal in the ring. And Joe, me and you tied number 1. Tyson, the lead up, phenomenal. Him punching Shawn, because you're like, whoa, he just knocked the fuck out. That punch on Shawn, it was so cool. Just the lead up where he's like, tearing it off, and you see the DX shirt leading up to Mania, and the whole I'll say spectacle, because he was larger than life at that point. It was so cool.
Yeah. People who weren't our age back in that time of like 98, 99 don't get how big Mike Tyson was. It was huge. I'll go next, and Jay, you can wrap things up. My number 5, politics aside, Donald Trump at Mania 23, the battle of the billion. Okay, calm down. Battle of the billionaires with him and Vince was fun. We were there at Ford Field, the whole head shaving. And I still laugh when he was like, my guy, Bobby Lashley, that Trump voice. He's going to beat Umaga.
It's the worst Trump impersonation ever.
I don't get paid by the hour.
Chug.
Bobby. My guy, Bobby. All right. So Trump's number 5 for me. Number 4 is Butterbean from Mania 15. Guys, I was so about Bart Gunn. I could pull up my college radio WrestleMania preview where me and my buddy Rocco went over match by match, and I said, Bart Gunn is going to knock Butterbean the fuck out. I love Brawl for All. I love Bart Gunn. And Butterbean, we all know what happened. Butterbean crushed him. So he's my number 4. My number 3, this was way, way better than I thought had any right to be. I remember really enjoying this. Floyd Mayweather at Mania 24, him and the Big Show. I remember just the whole lead, and I was like, this isn't realistic. Big Show is so much bigger than this guy. This is ridiculous. But however they did it, they pulled it off. I remember really enjoying how that went. My top 2 were actually musical celebrities. So, a little different from actually getting in the ring. But my number 2 is Nita Strauss doing the intro for Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles at Mania 34. She is a shredder on guitar, and you watch that.
She's no boobs.
she's got switch out a G for a B, and she's got that. But anyway, we'll keep it moving. Nita, it's so good. It's my favorite Mania entrance of all time. So that's number 2. Number 1, Kevin and I, we had probably about a half an hour laughing at this. moment last year when we just were in a drunken stupor after night 1 of WrestleMania. He sang America the Beautiful at Mania 2. Vince McMahon introduces him as the great Ray Charles. Right,
So funny about that.
right?
We need about 14 beers. Ray Charles.
Yeah, just he's like, everybody singing America the Beautiful, the great Ray Charles. Like, it's ridiculous. But Ray Charles is a legend, so yeah, he gets my number 1. Go ahead, Jay, wrap it up.
So number 5 was at Mania 25. Mickey Rourke's involvement with Jericho versus the Legends. It was supposed to be Mickey Rourke versus Jericho. The wrestler had just come out, and I guess on the red carpet to the Emmys, Rourke let it slip that he was going to go to WrestleMania, and that did not happen. Number 4, Pam Anderson and Jenny McCarthy, being the valets for Shawn and Diesel. It's like,
all right,
you get a big-breasted blonde to walk out with, and you get a big-breasted blonde to walk out with. Everybody gets a big-breasted blonde to walk out with. Number 3, it's pretty much hated by everybody except me. Colin Jost and Michael Che in the Battle Royal at Mania 35. I love SNL. Weekend Update is the funniest thing every single week, and I love seeing those guys be a part of the show. Number 2, Alice Cooper, Mania 3 with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Nice.
Kind of cool. And then number 1.
Wait, hold on. I do have to laugh of like Jake the Snake with Alice Cooper. It was kind of cool. Number 1.
It's kind of cool. That's why it's number 2.
Cool.
It's kind of cool. Number 1.
It was just kind of cool. And we're on a time crunch here.
Great fit.
Yeah. Number 1, Mania 27. It was Dolph Ziggler and Lay Cool against John Morrison, Trish Stratus, and my number 1, Snooki. She kicked ass in that match.
She did good. She did
that cartwheel.
Yeah.
Cartwheel splash to Michelle McCool, got the win. When I'm done with this, I'm literally going to go over to my my living room, and we watch Jersey Shore Family Vacation every Thursday. And Snooki was great in that match. She didn't disappoint. She's very athletic, and that is my number 1 of the top 5 favorite WrestleMania celebrities on this week's 5 Count.
So there you go. When people complain about the WrestleMania card, you see celebrities been there the entire time. That's what WrestleMania is all about. That's what Joe may disagree, but that's this week's 5 Count.
That's all right.
He meant take a pause and re-say that.
Because I literally said on this week's 5 Count.
That was the segue.
Oh, my bad.
But I remember after Snooki, I think we were like, that wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Because she actually kicked some butt.
Who made your 5 Count? Let us know on social media using the hashtag TWP5Count.
That's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening, and really appreciate all of you guys checking us out again at That WrestlePod for your socials. And of course, whatamaneuver.net for the merchandise. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. And I will talk to you guys next week as we get a little bit closer to WrestleMania. Enjoy wrestling, everybody. The end.
Thanks for listening. Follow That WrestlePod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
1, 2, 3, that's it!